Greetings, Scapers. This is Liger's Eye. Welcome to part 3 of my intro to Mirrorscape. This walkthrough of Mirrorscape's basic functions, it's meant to help get you up and building quickly. This time, we'll look at some creative building techniques beyond just dropping tiles down into a grid. We'll also look at how to get out of the first floor and build vertically. And finally, we'll dive into some of the special features available in Mirrorscape Labs. So, without further ado, let's get going. The first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to peek a little behind the scenes, come into Mirrorscape Labs. I won't go over these yet, but I'm going to kind of normalize my let's start with a fresh map. Okay, so back in our standard little tavern scene here on the big table, and we will start with just going to grab a few of the basic free pieces here, and we're going to talk about some of the building techniques that are beyond just the joining together of the tiles in a grid fashion, and see different ways that you can get creative with the building tools. That's a fair start. So the first thing I'll draw your attention to, and we talked about this in the first video, is the snap tool. This is a quick button for it to activate it and to switch it off. But I am going to go into settings and show it in a little more detail, because there's a couple of different components to it. And I believe here. So we have Move Snap, which is 3 settings available. It's currently off. There is a normal setting and a strict setting. I think I described these originally as pretend you have magnets inside the tile pieces. Strict means straight piece to piece, corner to corner. They match up identical, evenly, and you can't vary them from that. Normal Move Snap will let you shift them slightly, so they still join together, they still align, but they can be slightly offset, giving you a little bit of variation. And then Off removes that magnet feel to it altogether, and you can place the pieces anywhere next to one another or on top of one another, or even embed them within one another. The second part to the snap is the rotate. When you spin the objects around, you can do it in increments of 90 degrees, 45 degrees, or off. And just like the movement snap, 90 degrees is pretty strict. You're stuck in that with that angle. 45 degrees, you can it will tend to jump then at a 45 degree angle. So 2 jumps would equal your 90 degrees, and then off would give you a complete freedom to rotate an object, a tile, all the way around. So for now, I'm going to leave these off because we're going to talk about a little more free building with the tiles. So we'll start with a talk about overlapping and embedding, and I'm going to copy this down a couple of times. So we've got a few floor pieces, and with our snap on, they would join perfectly together. And with a loose snap, you could even disjoint them by a little bit. But in this case, our snap is completely off, so it does allow us the freedom to completely overlap the pieces and even drop them into one another. So before I had a 2 2x2 pieces, square tile. And now I've actually got a 2x6. And that allows a little bit of extra freedom if, say, the map that you are basing something off of requires that a room be, let's say, 15 feet across. Typically, the tile pieces are a full 10 feet, so each of the squares within the tile are 5-foot squares. So with this would represent 15 feet wide and then 10 feet in depth. So you can get a little more creative with that overlapping. And then when you add in the freedom to then rotate the pieces, you can get a little more creative then. Um, if you are perhaps making a pathway, or if you're trying to make um, a circular room, even if you want to do this kind of by hand, this would be an easy way to kind of lay this down in a bit of an arc or circular pattern. There are other ways you can do arcs and circles that will involve grouping pieces together. So, for example, let's get let's see, these two pieces lined up here. So, say we want to make a bit of a circular pattern out of these two pieces. It's off to the side here, so we got some freedom to build. So, once the two pieces are grouped, you can copy and paste them down. If you then, say, overlap them, you can then use the rotate tool. And if you continue to drop and layer that, you can see pretty quickly it's easy to come up with a circle where there was previously only a square shape available. So just a quick demonstration of that. Another technique, and I think what I will do, I'm going to bring up another map here first to demonstrate building in layers. So we're going to talk a little more in depth about building vertically. Part of that involves the the vertical slider on the right-hand side here. And what this selector allows you to do is set the plane in which you wish to build. And part of that assists with when you're building, say, roofs, for example. You want to be able to piece something together separate from the building that you're working on, or another part, and rather than trying to fumble around and get the pieces lined up just right and moving them into space and then bringing the next one, you can keep the build separate from your workspace. And once you get the pieces aligned, you can get them aligned properly with themselves and then bring them into the actual map itself, how you want to center that. And that's part of how you can then build up from just your standard one-story building. So I'm going to take this building apart a little bit. In fact, let me do this. I'm going to kind of remove this from the map here. Drop that down. Get rid of some pieces. So I'm just moving this out of the way so that we have full access to the building itself. Because if you try to do some of this when it's already established on a map, you may inadvertently move other parts of the map around while you are trying to make those edits. And it's really smart if you know exactly where it's going to go, and you've got the we'll say the footprint down of the object. You can take that and actually build out separately, and then when you are ready, you can actually bring that into the rest of the map. So, talking about vertically, we're going to convert this from a one-story to a two-story quickly here. And I'm going to raise the roof, insert DJ jokes here, and we'll take a look just at our basic floor plan. And obviously, if we're going to be going vertical, we're going to want some stairs. So let me do a quick search here for some stairs, some basic wooden ones. So we've got our stairs available here. And so thinking about it, let's bring the lights up just a little bit. There we go. Much easier to see what we're doing. So we'll bring in some stairs here. I'm just going to place these here. And for the most part, we're going to keep the same basic shape of the building. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go around and we're going to capture our outside wall. And we are literally just going to copy and paste. So we've got our second wall here for the upper floor. And you'll notice that it's overlapping, but if we try to line it up, it will move itself vertically, just because that's where it will naturally fit best. If you were doing something that was differently shaped than the first floor, you could then have the object selected, or all of the objects selected together as a group, and that's where you would use this slider on the right side, and you can then raise that into position. Or if you built it above, you could then drop it down into position from above. So the other thing I'm missing here, if you'll note, is a floor. Here's some squeaking in the background. Say hi to Abby. She's playing with her little dog toy. And yes, Abby is a dog. So let's grab a wooden floor here. So instead of building on the up here in the sky, we're going to drop this down, kind of recreate it on top of our existing. And for this, I will turn the snap on because it makes it a lot quicker when you can align these pieces. And you can repeat that as many times as you need to make the full floor. Once you're ready, and again, you can grab that new second floor wall, bring that down, and we'll assume you're filling in the gaps. Select your original roof and just drop that right back into place. So now you've got a quickly, an easily built second story to an existing building. Okay, so I've kind of teased this a couple of times already, but now we're going to switch gears here. We're going to pull up another map here. Oh, who should we use? Give this a minute to load. This is one of the larger maps. Okay, so let's talk Mirrorscape Labs. So in general, Mirrorscape Labs, the intention is any new features that they want to test out, um, they can introduce it through the lab menu option and give users a chance to try them, test them, provide a little bit of feedback, and if any changes need to be made, implement them. Or perhaps it's not a feature that anyone's going to be using, and this is their way of finding out what is and is not useful. But let's take a look at what is currently in the labs, and this will change over time. As the lab features are adopted, they'll get placed into kind of permanent slots in other parts of the menu, and new things rotated in. But we'll go through uh, these here and kind of give you a feel for what they are. You'll notice at the beginning of a lot of my videos, I'll have a map down and kind of have this camera motion showing different views of the map. And that's this cinema camera. And what this does is basically gives you the opportunity to plot the points where this camera angle is going to be. So I've opened up the little window here, and we'll go through the couple options here. So transition time, that's the time that it takes to move from point A to point B. The transition from to each of these points. The stop duration, once the camera has reached that that destination, how long is it going to hold there until it moves on to the next one? Transition style, there's currently only two styles. There is linear, which just goes straight from here to here. And then there's also S curve, which gives you a little more gradual, a little more dramatic kind of motion. And then functions down here, add keyframe. This is where you lock in those points. So if I want to start here with at this angle, this height above the table, I would simply click add keyframe. Then I will move the table around, zoom in until I get to the next angle that I want. And I'd click add keyframe, lock that position in, and repeat until I've got all of the different spots marked down for the motion. And once it's all in place, then I hit play. Play will basically rewind from this back to the beginning and then move through all of those points. Now I have 10 keyframes already saved in. This is what I did at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to clear these out and actually start fresh. And I think this is a good place to start. So we'll add a keyframe from up here. And let's see, I want to do something. I'm going to circle around and then eventually come into closer into town. So I'm going to just rotate this a little to the side. Maybe I'll come in just a tad. So we'll add a keyframe there. Continue that transition around just a bit. Something a little different. Zoom in. There's this side of the map. Freeze it there in that keyframe. Let's spin around now and come to that keyframe. And we're just going to zoom in here to the mayor's house, almost as if we're walking into town. Key from there, and now I have control over the kind of the start point and the end point, and the points in between. What I don't have full control is the actual movement. So it's possible now. I'm going to add the final keyframe here. It's possible what I've plotted here might actually go through that tree that was in front of the house, or go through one of the buildings that was in the town. You just have to play around with it until you get a feel for how that motion gets translated once you actually hit play. But let's go ahead and get started. So it's backing up to our start point, and quarters of a second. It's pause, and now next. And you can actually drop the pause down to as little as 0 seconds. It will still stop, but it's just a brief moment, and then it picks up its motion again. Yeah, so right through the tree. I was hoping it might go around it. I probably should have added a keyframe off to the side, maybe, just so that it kind of sidestepped the tree there. But that gives you a good sense of what this is for. And then obviously, in terms of why you would use this, hey, it looks great if you're doing a video demonstration of the product. But it's also a good opportunity, I think, for DMs to perhaps tell a story, to introduce the map that the players are just now learning about. In fact, now that I say that, this so I think this is an even better example of how a map can come across differently when you've got a little bit of cinematography involved. I won't map this one out, but the scale on this map is actually 1 square to, I believe it was 100 feet. So this is definitely intended to be a large scale map. This isn't one that they're going to be moving across with their minis, but it is a good introduction to the area. If you don't need the detail of each individual building and each rock to explore, this is a good way to show travel over a longer distance. And you may want to tell the story of this map, and while you're telling the story of this village and this area, they can get a good aerial view of it. Gives them a really good sense of where they are, and a better flavor for what this part of the story involves. Okay, that's enough on the cinema camera. I'm going to skip over 2D reference and actually run through these other ones pretty quickly here, because they're very simple, they're very quick, and 2D reference deserves a little bit more time to demonstrate. The show chairs. So one of the requests that the beta testers asked was that when they're building, sometimes they want to go around, they want to look around the table, but the chairs kind of get in the way. So we just asked for a simple, hey, can we hide the chairs? And that's all that is. So now we still have the table to work around, but the chairs are now out of the way. Eventually, I think there are plans for the chairs. I don't remember the exact specifics, but I think we might even have like avatars that represent each of the players sitting in the chairs, so you get that feel that you're at the table with the others. But I think that's a little further down on the to-do list. The next option here is enable clipping. So currently clipping is on, and what clipping is, you'll see that the map kind of comes to the edge of the table and just disappears. So this really just gives you that limit to what kind of space you can build in. If you want to see more of the map, normally you would grab the tool here and you can just slide it, and you'll see now it's blurry off the edge of the table, but you can see the full length of the map. And so as your players have finished exploring this zone and they move to this zone, then you can move the map accordingly. But as the builders got a little more creative and they wanted to make bigger and better, they wanted to be able to see more at a time. So it does require a little more in terms of resources, but we can turn the clipping off so that you can actually see the full map across the table and off of the table. And then we're going to turn the chairs back off because they also interfere with the map somewhat. So now we can see the full extent of this map. And then the next piece in Mirrorscape Labs is the environment. And by environment, they mean this room that we're in. Right now, there's two different options for rooms. There's the this kind of castle setting, and then there's also the tavern setting. And it's a smaller build table, smaller space, a little more intimate, a little more difficult to see around because obviously we're now clipping into the scenery. So instead of just having those two options, another suggestion was to remove the environment entirely. Maybe we don't want the distractions in the background. Maybe we just want the players to focus on the map and nothing else. And so then that allows us to turn the environment off altogether. So now we're just in this eerie blackness of nowhere. But you've got full focus on what's in front of you. No distractions on the sides, only what you want the players to see there in front of you. The last item here in labs, or not last necessarily, but the bottom of this list, is snow. Now, unfortunately, I'm on the Steam beta for Mirrorscape, and we're testing this out. Right now, snow is disabled. I can tell you on previous versions, the non-Steam version, snow was active, and it looks really, really nice. As it suggests, it adds a layer of snow to everything, and you can do light snow to medium and even heavy snow, and you can take any scene and suddenly put it either a sudden change of seasons and you're in the winter, or if you have a storyline that is going high in the mountains or way up north or south to the poles, you can easily add that atmosphere to it. Okay, let's take a look at this last one, 2D reference. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to let's start with a fresh map. And turn the environment on. Got a sense of space here. And we're going to look at 2D reference. What 2D reference allows you to do is to select a file. And while we look behind the scenes here, some stuff that I've accumulated over time, and take that image and is that the one we want? No. Okay, here we go. There we go. You can take an image and drop it onto the table. When you do that, then you can manipulate it. You can move it around the table. You can also resize it. And what this then gives you the ability to do is use this as a build template. So rather than having a map off to the side or from a book in front of you, you can literally lay it directly on the table and build on top of it. Makes building a lot lot faster. And what we can do here, I think I will choose a different. Yeah, maybe this is a good example. This is a little complicated. Let's drop the size here. So um, this was a maze that I had. I went online and just went to a maze generator and specifically found one that can generate a maze in a circle pattern. This would be really hard to sit down and look off of, print out, uh, and then drop the pieces in and get them set in the right place and um, keep them symmetrical and all that. This way, I can take any of these pieces and just drop it on top and get them aligned, snap off here. It's a lot faster and a lot easier to just drop these down and literally trace out what you're trying to do. So I'll only do a few pieces here because I think you'll get the idea pretty quickly. That makes it a lot faster when you're building stuff. Another option, and do I have the right graphic here? I may not have it. Nope, that's exactly where it was. Good job. Nope, I don't have the asset here in front of me. An idea that I had was, for example, there are no lava pieces yet. They are coming, um, but not available now. However, if you had a graphic of lava or some other surface that you wanted to include on your map, you could drop that image onto the table as well. The caveat right now is that this 2D image reference is only visible to you as the builder. Right now, it is not available to the players, but I believe that will be possible in the future. So I think that just about covers everything I was going to talk about this time around. Yeah. Okay. So I think next time we're going to step outside of the Mirrorscape app a little bit and take a look at the hub. The hub is going to be kind of the social backbone of Mirrorscape, and it is a place where obviously you can interact with other people using Mirrorscape. Will also be a place for your players to come and uh, get get reference materials from you, get other information. It is also a place for you to share your own maps. So anything that you've created here in Mirrorscape will show up there, and you can either make them visible to only yourself, or you can share them with anyone. And there's a couple of different groups in there as well that can be specific for, say, if you want to do Pathfinder, or you get the idea. And we'll go into much more depth next time on that. But until I see you then, get out there, get building, and later, Scapers.